Hello, welcome to the video for Omega Race final project. This project runs on a client server model. So this is my server. As you can see over here, I have a server file and this is the client version for the game. This game has been built so that it can run on both a single machine also as well as multiple peers on the same network. And the way it works is that the client so the first server hosts itself and broadcasts its IP address on the network and through discover local peers. So the client searches for any servers who have hosted the game, and if it finds any server, it sends a discovery request, and the server responds, and accordingly it connects. Now I'll show the game on my machine, although I am running right now on a single machine, but if required, it can be used to run on two different machines. And as I'll continue with the game, I'll explain what is going on. So first, the server hosts itself. This is the main screen for the load screen for the server, and accordingly, I have the same thing for client. So this is for client. This is a server. So if I press space, the server goes into lobby, and if I press H, it will host itself. Same for client. If I press space, it will keep searching for any host servers, and if I have hosted a game, so like this, I have hosted a game right now. If I press J over here, it will connect to this server. I'm pressing J right now, and we can see that it connects. Now they both will stay on the lobby page. If I press space on my server, the game will come into the play mode. Here I have I have ships who can fire missiles and fences. I can control the movement of the ships. This is the client mode. This is the server mode. Now I'll demonstrate with a small demo. So this, I can shoot the missiles. The missile hit the fence over here, and the fence coincides with the missile, and necessary action is takes place. And also the collision of fence with the ship, as we can see. So this ship collided with this one, and the ship is colliding with the fence. So all this fence action takes place. Now the game has been built such that it runs on a data-driven network. So everything is happening on the server side through a data-driven thing. Nothing is happening on the client side. There is no physical body of the ship and no physical body of missile. It is just a sprite, and I am sending the position and everything from the server, and the client only renders this. I will demonstrate this through my code, so it will be more clear. But basically, nothing is being built over here. This client is only rendering. This is my client. It only renders the things, and I can put up mines, and once the mines timer get over, they come back to the HUD. If I shoot the other ship, let me increase the velocity of the ship, and if I try to shoot it, the score will get updated accordingly. So this is the first ship. So I shot this one. So player 1 has a kill now, and player 2 has a death. And I've set this such that once any player reaches reaches 2 kills, so this score will get updated. Now both the lives of the player was lost, so player 1 won the game. And if I press space on the client, it will go again to the lobby, but it is still connected to the server because of the previous connection. And if I press space on the server, it will put both of these into um, play mode. This is the play screen. And like I said, so if I shoot this, I can drop the mines. And if I shoot this again, so the second death, it closes. Now how it works is, so I have data packages, data messages over here. Let me demonstrate this from the beginning. So this is the data message for the input message, which, let me just demonstrate this from the server. Now in the server, I have the data message over here, and this is the player input message, which takes in all the inputs over here and creates the necessary package for serializes the packet. And on the client side, the deserialization of the packets take place. The serialization also happens for only this particular thing for on the client side for the movement of ship and their missile. Not actually the missile, only the ship. And in other all the other cases, client only deserializes the packets and renders accordingly. This is the game state message. I have game states of actually I can show this from here. So I have a game state of load screen, which was the starting screen, then lobby where I press J to join or H to host, then play, add point, and game over. The add point just checks whether the score for each of the player is getting increased. If it gets increased, it sends the data to the client to come into the game over state. When the client comes into the game over state, it automatically transitions to the lobby state, which we saw that after the game got over, it was waiting for the server to continue, and it just said connected to so and so server right now on the lobby page, connect on lobby's page. In the play screen update, it only updates the pixel position of all the ships and basically everything, ship, the missile, and everything. Then these are just the receive messages over here for the client's ship, for the player 2 ship, and accordingly it updates its missile position, mine, sound, and everything. Even sound is getting generated through data driven thing. There is nothing happening on the client side. Then in the player input message, the rotation and movement of ship, missile, and mine takes place, and according to this, all the positions get updated on the screen. In game over update, it checks whether the player 1 score is more or the player 2 score is more, and accordingly it displays which player won the game. And if I this was the input that I was talking about, so if I press the space, the jump is the space button. If I press the space button, it sends both the client and server into lobby page, where it transitions to play state accordingly. This is how the game manager works. This is the calculation of score and everything. Now the thing to note over here is that in server I am updating everything. These all things are getting updated, and if I come into the client side, so in client I'm not updating any score, but still we saw that score was getting updated on the server, which was over here, and the client on the bottom right of the screen. Both were updating their sorry, score, and this is only getting calculated on the server side, and it just creates a player life message and sends the player ID and the kill, death, and lives. This just updates everything, and the client only renders the final values sent to it. In network message, the deserialization takes place, where according to the type of data that is getting sent, game state, player update, or input, life, score, everything, it deserializes the data packet and performs the next function. So after deserialization, basically it sends the data, all the data to client on the client side, and client renders everything. I can also demonstrate a few of these things, like in so in the so in take for example the sound message. This sound gets created over here, then it's serialized and deserialized. Server detects which type of data is being sent over here, whether it's an input or I'm sorry, whether it's a game state or a player update. It sets the packet accordingly, and through the network message, the data gets sent to the client. The input queue stores everything, the data, whatever, whichever data is to be sent, it gets the packet gets created, and the input queue holds the packet. It comes to adds all the packets into it, and if it's net local is for my current machine. If it's a network message, it send message to client, it comes, and depending on the type of packet that is to be sent, it creates the packet and sends it to the client. So like for missile, it the packet will get created, server does all this. Now in client, if I see over here, the client receives the message, it adds everything to the output queue. The output queue runs the receive message over here, and depending on the data message type that is getting sent, whether it's a game state. So first it checks whether it is in lobby state or play state or add point or even game over. Then according to the type of message, this is the message that was sent. So according to the type of message that is being sent, it converts itself to whether it has to process a game state message or it has to process the missile mine and everything. Now if I see that, say suppose the, again let's demonstrate with sound only since I am continuing with sound. So if a sound message is coming, my process sound message function will get called, and this will play the sound event according to the enum of the sound that is being passed. I have a player sound message packet over here which checks whichever enum is being called, and accordingly uh, outputs the necessary sound. Same thing for player score message or a player life message. So over here the lives and deaths of the players are getting calculated, and over here the whole score is getting processed. The score is updated basically when the game gets over, basically when both the lives of are getting over of a ship. A ship right now has 2 lives. In process fence message, whenever a fence ID is recognized, a spawn fence particle gets called, which generates this fence, the animation on the client side, which is what I was talking about. Since client does not have a ship or a missile body, so it works through this according to the data packet that is being sent. So the fence message will be sent, this over here, a fence type fence hit message will be sent, which processes the fence message, and through process fence message, if we see the definition, the response fence particle will get called. Apart from this, the network message manager, this is my network message manager. So this detects which type of data is being sent, and accordingly it will deserialize the data packets. And let's see the final thing, where I was telling that everything works on the basis of data driven thing over here. So in my network message, I'm sorry, in my game manager, everything gets calculated. So this is what I was talking about. So if you see over here that if I am even updating the player 2's uh, score over here, life, death and kills, so it sends a network message, as well as it creates a same message for, like for here adding point. So it creates a local packet over here, send type is local, and it adds itself to the input queue. Input queue determines whether the packet that is being sent is local or a network. If it's local, it will just come here, and enqueue the message to the queue. And after the whole list is created, the receive message will be called, which detects if if the message is send type is network. So if it is network, it will create the packet and send it on the network queue accordingly, whichever is being called. This is from the server side, and the same thing is happening not just for player input message but also for audio. Let me see if I can demonstrate it over here. Like for game over update, even for game over update, I am sending my packet on a network thing, and I'm also sending it locally. So even if it is being sent networked or local, everything gets added to the input queue, and depending on the send type of the message, the packets get processed. This is what I was talking about. Again, I'm sending through network and local. So my game runs on net data driven thing, and as I demonstrated, I have four stages: the load screen, then lobby, then play, and after play, the add point and game over gets toggled according to my requirement. If I press space again, the game continues again and again, and the scores get updated. Let me demonstrate the game one more time, one final time. This is the server. I host the server, and this is the client. If I press space and I join this, it is waiting for the next input from the server, which is a space key. And let me move this forward, and then I'll try to show. Yeah. So once first life is gone, and then once the second life is also gone, the game will get over. This is the play state, and now it goes on to the add point stage, and this is the game over stage. When I press a space over here, so the add point adds 1 point to player one because player one won last game, and this is the score that got updated on both the screens, the client as well as the server. So this is it for the game. Thank you.